This video clip is from mathstutor.biz and mathstutor.biz, and it's a video clip looking at one question from this practice paper, this GCSE Foundation practice paper. Practice paper 1B, which is a calculator paper, and we're going to look at question number 23. Should you want to see all of the questions, then you'll need to buy your own copy of this practice paper, and you'll get a DVD that will go through everything in detail, which could help you with your revision. And if you're interested, more details from mathsdvds.co.uk and mathstutor.biz. So let's have a look at this question number 23. GCSE Foundation Practice Paper 1B, question number 23. A tin is in the shape of a cylinder. The base radius of the cylinder is 6 centimeters and its height is 12 centimeters. So you don't have to draw a diagram, but I always reckon drawing a diagram helps you get your head around the question. So it's got a base radius, so make sure you appreciate that's a radius, not the diameter, and a height. Okay. A part 1. Calculate the area of the top or the bottom, because they're the same thing. And you have to know this formula. The area of a circle is pi r squared. If you haven't learned that, you must learn it. So in this case it's pi multiplied by r squared, where the radius is 6. So here we go with the calculator, and knowing your own calculator, how important is that to know where the pi button is? Because it won't be in the same place on all calculators. On this calculator it's there. But I have to press that button first to get it. So there's pi multiplied by 6 squared, or 36, because I can work that out in my head, but you don't have to. I type it in again using 6 squared. That's my second way of doing it, and we're told to do that to 1 decimal place. So there's my 1 decimal place, but because that's 5 or over, it's a 9. There you go. This is area, so let's not forget our units. So lots of bits and pieces to remember there, but if you remember them all, not a bad question. Calculate the volume of the tin. Now there is a formula for the volume of a cylinder, and it's the area of the end part, which is pi r squared, multiplied by the height of it. So in fact, to get the volume, I've got to take this previous answer and multiply it by the height. So actually I've still got that in the window of the calculator. So if I just type in answer and multiply it by 12, that will do the job. It doesn't matter actually in the exam if you use that or use that. At least it shouldn't do. The examiner will accept either. 1 decimal place again. So that's a 1, knock it up by 2. If you use that, let's see what happens. 113.1 and multiply that by 12. You're going to get this answer, which amazingly is the same, so that's okay. But it may have been 1 decimal point out, but the examiner is not going to mark you down for that, I promise. Right, don't forget the units at the end there. So what have we got here? 2 marks for that, 1 for there and 1 for there, 2 marks there, 1 for multiplying by 12 and 1 for getting it right. So that's part A, but we've got a part B as well. So let's look at our part B. And we've got a similar tin. Now the word similar in mathematics is very important. Similar means an enlargement. In other words, all angles, if there are any angles, are the same, and all dimensions are in ratio. So here's my similar cylinder. My original one was 6 centimeters radius and the height was 12. 12. A similar tin that has a height of 24, so this is height of 24. So because it's similar, in mathematics that means an enlargement, a perfect enlargement. So you can see the height has been doubled. So therefore the base radius is doubled. So here's my larger cylinder, and we've got to find the volume of the larger cylinder. So there's two ways of doing this. We can actually use the volume of a cylinder, which is pi r squared, the area of the circle, multiplied by the height, and use our new dimensions. So we've got to multiply by 12 squared and multiply by the height. So let's see what we get with that. Pi, there's my pi button, as long as I press that first. Multiply by 12 squared, I could have typed in 144, see, and I know that's what 12 squared is. Multiply by 24, and here's my answer. One decimal place. And units. Now, that is one way of doing it, and I suspect that's the way most people will do it. But if you know about enlargements, this has got a scale factor of 2, because it's enlarged by 2. This is a bit of higher mathematics. If you enlarge something by scale factor 2, then any area will be 2 squared bigger. In other words, we call that the area factor, and 2 squared is 4. So if that height is doubled, scale factor 2, then the area of that circle will be 4 times bigger on that circle, on there. And the volume factor, in other words, how much bigger is the volume, is in fact 2 cubed. 2 times 2 times 2. 2 2's 4, 4 2's are 8. So in fact, if you have a similar cylinder that is enlarged by scale factor 2, any dimensions, as they're called, are doubled, but the volume will be 8 times. And you will find, if you multiply that answer by 8, you will get that one. If you didn't understand that, don't worry about it, that's a bit top-ended, but it's useful to know if you're after that grade C from this foundation examination. But that way is perfectly acceptable, and you'll get the full marks, because there's 2 marks, one for the working out whether it's like that or using that information, and 1 mark for getting it right.